Today's lesson, FSD students, will be a combination of making sure you've corrected your practice ACT and make sure you have completed the Google form and submitted that. And please complete that as accurately and as completely as you can with specific questions that you have to help me better prepare you for the real ACT test. Another part of today's lesson is just a quick review on what we've talked about as far as statistics go. So if you look at the problem on the screen, I'm asking you to use the set of data, which there are 7 numbers, and these are arranged in order. If the one that I'm going to have you do is a practice, they are not. So make sure you do arrange them in order from least to greatest. But if we are calculating, first of all, we'll skip down here, and if we're calculating median, median is the middle number, and in this case, since there are 7 numbers, the median would be 83. The mode is the one that occurs most often. There could be several modes, or there may not be any. In this case, there is one mode, and the mode is also 83 because there are 2 of those. All right, to find the mean of these, we would add them up. So I'm going to add up all 7 numbers, including the 83 twice. I'm going to divide by 7, and I'm going to get the mean to be rounded to the nearest tenth, 82.6. A range is your maximum minus the minimum. So 95 take away 58, which is 37. Your first quartile, since 83 is an exact median, the first quartile would be the median of these 3 numbers, which would be 81. The third quartile would be the median of these 3 numbers, which would be 91. Therefore, your IQR is the third minus the first, which would be 10. All right, determining outliers for this particular set. I'm going to take 1.5 times that IQR, which is 10, and that gives me 15. So then I'm going to extend my limits of my quartiles. So my first quartile is 81. I'm going to subtract 15 from that, which would be 66. I'm going to take my third quartile, which is 91, and add 15, which is 106. And then check my list of numbers to see if any of them are outside that range of numbers. And in this case, 58 would be considered an outlier. So 1.5 times your RQR, you're going to subtract that from your first quartile, add it to your third quartile, and those are your new limits. One other problem that we've discussed is finding standard deviation and variance. And we've used a 3-column method. So if I give you a set of numbers, and I'm going to put these in order also. So let's say I've got the numbers 6, 10, 13, 17, and 24. So this is a wide spread of numbers. All right, the first thing we're going to do is find the mean. So I'm going to add these up and I'm going to divide by 6. And adding these up, I get a total of 70. I should be adding them up and dividing by the total number, which is 5. And that gives me a mean of 14. So then our deviation column is how far each of these are from the mean. So 6 is 8 below, 10 would be 4 below, 13 is 1 below the mean. 17 is 3 above, and 24 is 10 above. Third column is the deviation squared. I'm going to square all of those deviations. I'm going to total that column, which I believe is 190. So now it depends on whether you're finding the population, standard deviation, or the variance. If you're doing population, you are using all 5 numbers. So you would divide the 190 by 5. So your variance would be 38. Your standard deviation then would be the square root of 38, which is approximately 6.2. If I did ask you to find the sample variance, we would take 190 and divide by 4. Always one less than how many numbers you have. That's 47.5. That would be your sample variance. And then your standard deviation is the square root of that, which would be about 6.9. All right. So for your attendance here, make sure you're completing the Google form. That's in the Schoology Distance Learning folder, and then completing this assignment, which is also in your folder, and submitting that electronically. Have a good rest of your day.